Hi Libras, this is your monthly tarot reading. It's going to be a general reading. It's laid out. It's a zodiac reading. And this is for the month of February 2019. Libras, I'm mixing your cards and we're going to try to see what's going on for this month for you guys. And let's see what we have. Please show me Libra, general reading. What's happening around Libras? What's going to go on for the month of 2019, February? Libra. Okay, Libras. This is a zodiac spread. Your first house is how other people see you. And right now, they're seeing you in a battle or a struggle. Oftentimes, this card will come up where you feel life is a battle and you're having your share of obstacles and you have to defend your territory. So this can be in business, this can be in your home, this can be with family members. The world is perceiving you now as being a little annoyed that everything feels like a battle. Things are not flowing easily right now. You have to apply a lot of effort. And I think sometimes, there can be an irritability because you don't understand why everything has to be so difficult. So people this month are going to see you a little stressed out. They might see you being a little snappy or short-tempered. Irritable is a good word. And if you don't want people to get wind of how you're feeling, I always tell people the first house is, how you're perceived. So you can make a few adjustments where, you're not wearing your heart on your sleeve or your battle medals or scars on your sleeve. And, you give the appearance maybe that you're flowing and that things are not as tough as they really are for you at this time. Now, this may be connected with your finances or with a business because in the second house, you have the card of, disappointment, and this is regarding your finances. So you might have expected a windfall, you might have expected a job, you might have expected more money in the field that you're working in. Perhaps investments didn't go that well. Your tax refund is not going to be what you thought it was. You might have to struggle to get certain benefits. So in your money house right now, it's indicating that you feel a sense of letdown and, you're sad about it. You had hoped things would, go differently. Your third house, moving on, relates to communications. It relates to siblings. It can be cousins. It can be people in your environment, usually your neighbors. And it can also be communication. And so if you do any online communication, Facebook, any of those, this would represent that aspect of your life as well. And you have the card of distrust. So for some of you, this could mean that, if it's an online situation, you're not really trusting certain individuals, and you might have to vet people better. If this is regarding, your environment, I would say, this month it would be a good idea if you get an instinct that someone's up to no good. They probably are up to no good, and you want to make sure, that there's no theft that's going to occur, because sometimes this just can indicate some sly and cunning behavior, but it is a card that can represent a person that tries to get over. So you may have one of these unsavory characters in your actual environment, like where you live, your neighborhood. And then the other way that I can read this card, because it does indicate sometimes shame or guilt. So one of your family members might be doing something that's a little shady. We go back to, that this represents also siblings and cousins. But there can be a sense of guilt that you or someone else is feeling. And usually that happens when someone bails out of a situation or a relationship. They usually feel this sense of guilt, and this card will show up sometimes when someone does something where they leave and don't complete the situation. And this can be, someone who left a job and didn't give notice. It could be somebody who left a marriage and just walked out. So this card, does signify that you want to be a little cautious right now for the month of February in all those areas of your life. Having said that, your home life is very happy right now. You have the card of enjoyment. This is sensual pleasure, satisfaction. I like to call this the party card. So some of you might be entertaining in your homes. Some of you might be making dinners for friends or having get-togethers. In general, if you're not entertaining or having any reunions or social gatherings in your home, then this would indicate that, your home is a happy environment and you make it just so that you and anyone else who's in this home enjoys themselves. It's very comfortable. We're moving on, and the fifth house represents your children, and it also can represent a new love that comes into your life. And so when I say new love, I usually say within the last 3 years, this would cover that new relationship. Okay, if it's children, this means that you're very focused right now on tradition, institutions. So some of your children, obviously, the school system is an institution. Some of your children may be involved with a religious group. Uh, they may be interning with a business group. But this is the card of family and tradition. So I think what it's saying is that you're trying to instill values into your children, and it is on your mind that the culture that you come from, stays alive, and that there's a sense of security and long-term roots that your children are going to feel. And you may be thinking about colleges for some of your children. Some of you may be very involved in their education, the PTA, organizations, even I could say sports, athletics. Many of you are involved in these civic groups and school groups for the sake of your children. If it's a new relationship, this person presents as being very traditional, very reliable. They usually have a good job. They believe in the tried and true. No wild cards with this person. Usually a person like this sees marriage as the end goal. And so you may be wanting to attract a person like that at this time, or they're already in your life and they are traditionally valued, meaning, marriage comes out of this relationship. That's the goal. In your sixth house of work, you have the work card, and this is the card of fairness. And mutual exchange. So it generally says that your job should be nice. This is a work environment where you get paid and compensated for your labor or your skill. The company or whomever you work with is a fair person. There's give and take. There's flexibility. uh, no one is pinching pennies, and it's an environment that just feels fair. And for Libra, that's very important. You like to be in environments where people respect one another and there's true fairness, in the environment. Even though you may like to stir up the pot once in a while for drama's sake, you do like give and take, cooperation. These are aspects of yourself that are highly developed. So your work environment looks good. In terms of your partners, you have a money card. So some of you might have just started a new job where you're earning more than you were in your last position, because this is the card of a new beginning. For some of you, you may have a partner, like a mate, a friend, a roommate, who just started a new job, and it's the beginning of them accruing some degree of wealth. So it's usually a very positive card. If you consider family, your partner, some relative, if you consider a friend, a business partner, whomever you're partnered up with right now, um, you may reap the benefits. This might even be you in new partnership, but money is the main focus for you right now. And it looks like one of your relationships or partnerships in your life is going to bring you some new avenue of revenue. So that looks good for your money. I know your money house right now shows, you have a certain degree of disappointment. So for those of you Libras who are getting a new position, that's going to be great because this will pay you more than your last job. Okay, your eighth house is the house that represents your bedroom, your intimate life. It also can represent inheritances and shared resources. Now, shared resources can be, if there's a custody battle or anything going on, a probated will. You are very determined right now and very skilled. So you want to kind of manifest what you feel is right. You want to feel respected. You have a lot of talent and ability. And so if there is any issue with a will or with shared resources, that can come from a separation as well. Uh, you will be very strong in the month of February in making sure that you get what you feel you're entitled to, whether it's for you or a child, family member. If it's your bedroom, this means that you're very skilled in the bedroom, Libra. This is the card of multitasking. It's the card of being having a lot of talent and ability. So you may need a partner to reinforce you this month. You may want to be stroked in more ways than one, meaning that you want to feel that you are respected for all of the talent and the skill that you have, not just be like a love object, in other words. But you are going to exhibit some strong, I'm not going to say ego, but will this month if you have an intimate relationship. Okay, in your ninth house, this is the card of lawsuits. It can represent also publishing. It can represent travel, higher education. And you do have the card of separation and possible disputes in this house. So for many of you Libras, I mean, law is a Libra thing. There may actually be some legal suit that's been going on or is going on. And this card indicates that no happy conclusion has been reached here, that it's definitely dispute between different parties. Sometimes because there's three swords, people will read this as, an outside influence sort of interfered into people's business, and that caused this separation or heartbreak or lawsuit or argument, separation. So for many of you Libras, there may actually be a feeling of more kind of disappointment and heaviness that this dispute or this lawsuit hasn't been concluded yet. For others of you, some of you may actually have to travel to nurse someone who separated from someone or lost someone. This is the card of arguments. So some of you actually, if you were going to travel, this would not be a happy trip. This would be sort of an intervention trip to assist and aid in someone, who's separated from someone for some reason. If it's higher education, not a good time. This card, the separation and the arguments, is showing that even if you're entitled to get aid or to get into a program, you would have a battle with someone or you wouldn't see eye to eye. So for any indications for travel, it doesn't look good. Publishing, same thing. If any of you